Hi everyone, this is the PlanesTalkers. This is Sean.
This is Rez.
And we'll be reviewing the red from the Commander 2016 set. Here's our first card, the Charging Cinderhorn. It is a 3 colorless, 1 red, haste 4/2 elemental ox. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no creatures attack this turn, put a fury counter on Charging Cinderhorn. Then Charging Cinderhorn deals damage equal to the number of fury counters to that player.
I'm just loving the more and more things that get counters, knowing that we've got that Deep Glow Skate that is going to be doubling counters and doing crazy things. I think this card is better because there are things that double counters in the set.
Well, I like this card because it kind of punishes people for playing more dirtily decks, so this will keep doing damage to them, which will be fun. And it does kind of, like, I have to attack every turn if I don't want to take, well, eventually probably 3, 4, 5. Even
yeah.
You can even get 10 if you keep doubling with the skate. You could easily get 10 damage, 20 damage out of this guy to someone for not attacking. So this guy could be very solid. It does play into the flavor of Commander, which I like a lot.
Absolutely. How many Commander games have we played where for 3, 4 turns everyone's just digging through that library trying to find that one bomb that they know is in their deck waiting that will win them the game? It's just a matter of who draws it first. Well, this punishes them all for standing there and doing nothing while they're waiting for it.
Oh yeah, so I like the whole aspect of punishing players and every player matters situation. So let's go on to the next card though, which is this Divergent Transformations. It's 6 colorless and a red. This is the Red Undaunted spell. It's instant speed. It's exile 2 target creatures. For each of those creatures, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card. Puts that card onto the battlefield and then shuffles the library. Well, shuffles the rest into the library, yeah. So this is an odd effect for red. I feel this is more of a blue effect.
Yeah, very much.
Those transformation like polymorph were really blue.
Red, and, I could even see
especially
it
exile.
in green or blue would be where I would expect this. Not in red. That being said, could be fun, could be interesting. A little bit of politics. Maybe I take your 1/1 guy and I'll transform it into you for something better. I can choose myself and hope that I grow something better.
This is, yeah, at least this is a very flavorful commander card. You can do so many things, and it does exile 2 creatures, which is very powerful. So that alone is a very good effect. And Undaunted, so it could be very cheap to exile 2 creatures or transform your own bad creatures into good creatures. It could be very hit or miss, though.
It really could be. It's one of those cards I'm okay with playing in Commander as a one-of, just whatever, I'm going to play it, just see what happens. But outside of Commander, I don't see this card being able to do anything at all. I mean, even if I lower this down to a 3 cost, I don't think it's worth playing outside of a Commander game.
Yeah, I mean, at 3 costs, it could probably be very strong, but I don't know. As a Commander, this is unplayable, but I would say the Commander, you could argue to play this.
Yeah, Commander, you can get away with some things.
I do really like the little dinosaur that turned it from a sheep there, though.
That is the dream, that we have our sheep and we can turn him into an awesome-looking dinosaur.
It usually feels more like the dinosaur turns into the sheep, though.
That's been my experience with these type of cards, too, is I get this decent creature and all of a sudden it becomes a 1/1 insect. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's great.
Now, speaking of that, we're going to turn to the next card, which is Frenzied Fugue, which is 3 colorless and 1 red. This is an enchant permanent, though. So when Frenzied Fugue enters the battlefield or at the beginning of your upkeep, gain control of enchanted permanent until end of turn. Untap that permanent and it gains haste. So this is a constant act of treason.
Act of treason. We get to share the creature.
Yeah, you're really sharing the creature with the other person, which is another very flavorful commander. So you're just going to be taking it every turn. Well, it's a permanent, so you can take anything. You can take a land if you really felt like it.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very good card. I like this at the uncommon. This is probably, I think, the best of the uncommon set. At least so far that we reviewed.
I'll have to agree. I think this is really flavorful and red. I like the idea of, I get it, I get to do my thing with it, but then I have to give it back to you. It's an ability we haven't really seen before in any other Magic card.
No, not as an enchantment. This is definitely a new. So it is a very nice change of pace, I would say. So we're going to move on to the Goblin Spy Master. I love this artwork. I'm just going to throw that out there first. He looks like a little Napoleon.
Yeah, little Napoleon with the goblin nose and the little smirk on his face. Yeah, this is something I want to see in a big print on the side of my wall. Because I just can't help but smile when I see him there. It reminds me very much of the Minions.
He makes me happy. I love this little guy. But he's a 2 colorless, 1 red costed creature. He is a 2/1 Goblin Rogue, which has first strike. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, though, that player creates a 1/1 Red Goblin creature token with creatures you control attack each combat if able.
We're in a new era of Magic where creatures are not just creatures, they're spells, they're enchantments. This little guy just seems to want to do it all, and I love him for it.
Yeah, I love this little guy. I would play him just first, so I can look at his photo when I'm playing.
Yeah, he's a... I don't really think he's going to win me a Commander game at any point in time, but I really don't care. He's got that smirk, he's doing things, I think it's a win.
It's a win-esque. I mean, I just love that artwork, but the fact that he gives a opponent a 1/1 goblin every turn, it gets really overwhelming. So you're just creating a goblin army for your opponents. Yeah, they have to attack every turn, but you're not getting a goblin army. You only have this 2/1 guy who's looking pretty snazzy.
Yeah, but I don't care. He is snazzy enough. I will take that defeat, and I will go down like Napoleon, but I will be proud to do it.
I mean, that's why he's dressed as Napoleon. All the armies are converging against him.
Yeah, he's not going to make it long.
And we finally have this Runehorn Hellkite. It's a 6-cost, 5 colorless, 1 red, flying 5/5 dragon. It has a Wheel of Fortune attached to its ability, so it's a 5 colorless, 1 red, exile Runehorn Hellkite from your graveyard. Each player discards his or her hand and then draws 7. So this is a dragon with a very expensive Wheel of Fortune on it that can only be played when it's in the graveyard.
Yeah.
I think this card is... If you're not playing a dragon-themed deck and you're like, I need every dragon, then this is a mess.
That's interesting. It has to be from the graveyard. I think it's a win because it's doing something while it's in play, and it's doing something late game when it's in the graveyard. Most red cards, once they're in the graveyard, are not going to be doing much at all. They're just there. We don't have much flashback. We don't have much use for things in the graveyard if we're red.
Well, they do get passed in flames, though.
There are some, yes. But I think this might be a little weird in the 4-color commander deck that we're seeing it in. But in a mono red commander deck where you're going for maybe some burn and stuff, where you can draw, you can play your big guy, he gets killed, and then draw a new 7, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a Dragonstorm deck this card is okay, but the fact that your opponents are going to draw that 7 too, you're going to refill their hands. This is Commander. I mean, yeah, it's nice that everyone gets to play around, but, I mean, Wheel of Fortune is Wheel of Fortune, and I'd rather just play Wheel of Fortune than drop down a 6-costed 5/5 flying.
This is true.
Especially, I mean, yeah, it does do stuff in the graveyard, but I don't know. I think this is a miss for me. If you're not playing dragons, I don't think you're playing this card.
Alright, so as we do with all our color sets, we have to pick one winner for red. What would be your one win?
Well, the card I want to most play with is the Goblin Spy Master. I love that little guy, but I think the Charging Cinder Horn is probably the real winner of this. He's going to cause, I think, a little more havoc in the Commander games than any of the other cards. The Goblin Commander does make people attack every turn, which is nice. They can't really sit back with their cards that are like, well, I get to play this ability on to end your upkeep, so I can do things. Like Jace's Archivist is very good in Commander because it can just refill everyone's hands, dumps their hands. And it's going to cause them to play these things on their turn, not really on your turn when they're more devastating. So I think this guy I can argue successfully that he's the winner.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Goblin Spy Master. I don't think he's gonna win any Commander games. I don't think he's gonna be the card that everyone starts crying when he comes down because he's broken or anything. But just look at him. He's a little Napoleon. You can't go wrong with that. Red doesn't have a lot of those fun cards anymore. I give it to the Spy Master.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd probably rather play the Cinderhorn, but I just love the Spy Master. I would put him in any deck.
I agree.
Just to look at them.
Well, that does it for our red cards. I'm Rez.
I'm Sean.
And we'll see you next time when we review the green cards from Commander 2016.